Dave Workman, the Seattle Gun Rights Examiner, joins us on the program. How you doing tonight, Dave?
Oh, fine, Kim. It's always nice to wrap up a week with a pal. So,
Absolutely. It's good talking to you. It's been a while. You've got a great column out talking about Chuck Grassley slamming the Department of Justice, and also talking with Carlos Canino, the former attaché to Mexico for BATFE, about what went wrong with Fast and Furious. I mean, look, clearly the fact that contempt of Congress has taken place, that does not mean that the Fast and Furious investigation has come to a stop, Mr. Workman.
oh heavens, no! In fact, I think probably the contempt thing was the end of round one. Chuck Grassley is clearly upset with the Justice Department. He fired off this letter talking about contempt and how the Justice Department had simply blown that off. How many times in history have you heard of Congress, somebody just blowing Congress off, especially when they hold you in contempt? And then he related in this lengthy letter how a Justice Department, I guess an attorney for the Justice Department, had told some journalist down in Louisiana at a public meeting, you can quote everybody else, but you can't quote me. Now, I'm a journalist, and if somebody told me that at a public meeting, I might just say, yeah, I know, that's fine, and I'd just start writing notes, and I'd quote everything I was told.
Right, right. So,
uh,
yeah,
go,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Dave. No, go ahead.
Well, I think that Senator Grassley is the wrong guy to be messing with at this point. He has been on this for 18 months. He has seen the Justice Department just dripping with arrogance on Fast and Furious, on refusing to provide information, on refusing to honor the subpoenas or even respond to them. And then this business down in Louisiana. I got to believe that our friend from Iowa is sitting back scratching his head wondering, what are these guys drinking anyway? I mean, they're crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what's going on here, and then there was the allegations that the whistleblowers at BATFE were now working under the supervision of a guy who had threatened them, basically threatened their jobs. Dave, I mean, all of this stuff that comes out, whether it's the sort of nonsensical proclamation by President Obama that all 1,300 of these documents that have been subpoenaed somehow fall under executive privilege, to what we're hearing about the treatment of these whistleblowers. Even, I mean, it's amazing, but even at this late date, it does not appear as if the administration is taking this seriously.
Well, I think you're right, and it's disturbing to me as a journalist who's been working on this story for 18 months. The there's an arrogance that is just loose in this administration. I get the impression that they honestly believe that the laws of this country do not apply to them, and they're in for a rude awakening. The American public isn't going to take this, and certainly there are things I think waiting over the horizon. I know Mike Vanderbilt, one of the guys that had been working on Fast and Furious, he was on Fox News the other night, and he said, "Hey, there's more to come," and I'm certain of that because I'm still digging into stuff. And one thing that you mentioned here, I had an interesting interview with Carlos Canino, the former attaché to Mexico, and who is now the assistant special agent in charge for BATF in Mexico or in Arizona, and he's running the Tucson office. The guy is absolutely dead bang honest. He gave me a great interview. I think we got along very well, and he explained what went wrong with this. And I think what went wrong with this is these guys that started this operation, they're a bunch of loose cannons. And, Camino's a good street cop. Everybody I've talked to who knows him says, hey, this guy's a street cop. And, street cops, they have a certain code. They go get the bad guys. And when they see stuff or are ordered to not see stuff, I guess is a better thing, or just to let things walk. This is very frustrating for somebody whose career is built on catching bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And more power to Mr. Canino. He's been really behind the eight ball on this in a lot of ways. He told me again what he told Darrell Ice's committee just about a year ago now, that he had never, ever been told that these guns were being walked. He had never been advised of this. He and Darren Gill had been kept in the dark, and that because he's an instructor and he's taught courses and he's taken courses, he can find no place in the rule book or in the investigative techniques where walking guns is an acceptable strategy to investigate criminal activity.
Well, I don't think that he will. Which Dave, I want to go back to the Fortune magazine article that came out a few weeks ago, asserting that guns never walked. Dave, I mean, where has that story gone? It really seems like the reporter who put out that story and then another follow up, all of a sudden it just kind of fizzled.
Well, I was astounded when I read that Fortune article. Mainly because, as somebody who's worked on Fast and Furious, I looked at that and I thought, where the hell is this woman? I just couldn't believe what I was reading. And I think the reason that story tanked so fast was because everybody who knows about this operation knew that it was riddled with inaccuracies. It was misleading. The story, I think, was timed to break on the same day or within 24 hours of when they had the contempt vote on Capitol Hill, trying to paint the contempt vote as a political move and just political theater. We know that's not true. Congress wanted these 1,300 documents. Holder wasn't going to give them to them. He reached out. Obama covered for him with executive privilege, and that leaves me and a lot of other people, and you too, I think we talked about this, we're wondering just what is in those documents. What is it that is hiding in those documents that could embarrass the administration they don't want us to see?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, particularly, Dave, given that now you've got the Obama administration calling on Mitt Romney to release tax returns and, this and that, the other thing, to me, it's kind of mind-boggling that they're, trying to assert that Mitt Romney has something to hide, while you've got, basically every legal expert who says Barack Obama doesn't have a legal leg to stand on in asserting executive privilege when it comes to these documents in Fast and Furious.
Well, yeah, there again is an example of the double standard that I think this administration runs on. It's just like gasoline. They think that the rules apply to everybody else, but not them. And yeah, at some point, I think it might be interesting to see Mitt Romney's tax returns, but who really gives a turkey? That's less important. To me, that is far less important than how Mr. Romney might run the country as executive in chief, and it means less to me than who he might appoint to the Supreme Court, as opposed to Mr. Obama, who he's already proven who he's going to support for the Supreme Court. There are fundamental differences in their programs, their plans, and what they want to do. And yet we're getting wrapped around the axle over a tax return. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
I want to know what's in those 1,300 documents. We all know Mitt Romney made a lot of money. We also know that he gave a lot of money away. So?
No, listen, I'm with you, Dave. Unfortunately, sir, we are almost out of time, but I really appreciate you coming on the program, and have a great weekend.
Hey, you do the same, and just keep watching my stuff in the Examiner, because I anticipate there'll be something worth reading.
All right. Well, there always is, Dave. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your time tonight.
You're very kind. You take care. Good night.